Welcome to this Story City Creator Tools demo. In this video, you'll learn how to make your first story. First, go to storycity.app and sign in with your account. If you don't have an account, you can register via email. When you first sign in, you'll be taken to your Creator dashboard. From here, you can either go to your Creator menu where you can see the previous stories that you have created and edit them, or you can click Create a Story. First, enter in a tagline for your story, and this will take you to your story overview page. From here, you can add a title, add a cover image, add in your genre, what age the story is meant for, and descriptor tags for your story. You can also enter the duration. You may not know this before you've tested your story, but if you do, you can enter that here. In the description section is where you can add everything from a longer blurb to sponsorship credits and logos, the starting location, whether you may need props for your adventure, warnings or cautions about the environment and safety, wheelchair accessibility, land acknowledgements, or external links. So let's add in a description here. And then we'll go back to the Story Hub and select Save. From here, you can create the chapters and select their locations for your experience. You can enter in the chapter location names here and initially add new chapters. From your list, you can select which chapters you would like to edit. On the right-hand side, we have a chapter editor which allows you to edit the contents of each chapter. We have a location selector which allows you to select the location for your story. And then we have a connection box which shows you where your incoming connections are, so what are the chapters that come before the chapter you're currently on, and which story chapters you want to link to going forward in an adventure. This is also where you can mark end chapters for your story. So first, let's set the location for each of these chapters. I'm going to scroll out and do this in downtown Edmonton, maybe by the Legislature building. So we're going to select our start location over here. And you can now see that in your location box. And then let's make this story with two endings. Let's have one ending at the Legislature building. We'll have another ending at the Memorial Gardens. Then I'm going to link the chapters in the order that I want them to appear. We have our start chapter. And from our start chapter, I want to go to my second chapter, which is titled My Name Is. So to do that, I would go to the Connections and Requirements box, select Outgoing Connections, and then I would select my chapter. If I wanted the name of the button that allows you to go to the next chapter to be different from the name of the chapter itself, I could customize that connection here. From the second location, I then want to go to my two end locations. So I'm going to connect to both of those here. And you now can see that our incoming connection for this chapter is the first start chapter, and our outgoing connections are for the last two chapters here. And these chapters, as they are going to be end chapters, I will mark them here as an end chapter. This means there are no more outgoing connections, and when a user gets to these chapters, they will be presented with an end story button and know that their experience has come to an end. Alright, let's edit some content. In the editing window, you can have a featured image or video. You can edit the chapter name, and then you can add chapter content into the box below. This featured image or video will go at the top of the screen for each chapter. In this case, I am just going to select an image. As you can see here, I've selected an image that is too small. So let's do this again, but with the right size image. For this story, we're also going to add in some inline images, audios, videos, and text. First, let's add our text. For this chapter, we may also have some audio, so we would click Add Content and Add Audio Track. From there, we can choose our audio. You can also play that audio to make sure it's the right one.
Things have been happening lately. Things you can't explain.
Let's also add in an image which you can on the right hand side here. And we can either set that image to fit mode, which makes it a small thumbnail size on the app, or we can select it to be full mode, which will then make sure that it is the width of the device that it is being displayed on, whether the person looks at it on a tablet or on a phone. Finally, let's add a video. The maximum video file size is 250 megabytes, and you can select your video on the right hand side. You can then press the play button to preview your video that you've
Even
uploaded.
though you're in the middle of the busy park, in
addition to the regular editing tools that we have in the upper bar here, you can add in information pop-ups which allow people to grab additional information about areas within your story, and external links. Let's try adding them now. On the right hand side here, you can upload audio, video, or images at the top of the content, as well as add in a little bit of text. You can also add in external links. Now that we've completely added our content and all of the changes have been saved, you can go back to your Story Hub, select your next chapter, and edit the contents for that. Now that we've loaded our content in, selected our locations, and then connected each chapter to each other, it's time to publish our story. Hit Start Publish and check that all of your information has been entered. If you find that all of your information for the title page has not been entered, you'll get an error message. And similarly, if you have created a chapter but have forgotten to link it to other chapters, it will notify you here so that you can go back and fix those before moving on to publishing your story and submitting it for review to Story City. Here is where you can add your contributors. If your contributor is a user of Story City, you can add them via their username. Select their role and hit Add New Contributor. If the person you wish to credit does not have a Story City username, you can either enter in their name via text or add in a website. Once you've added in all of the credits for your story, select Next. We then ask you to confirm several things. 1, that you own the copyright for everything that you have uploaded for your story. 2, that you have read the user agreement and understand what is and isn't allowable on the Story City app and how to be safe when you're creating your adventure. 3, confirm that you have playtested your story via the Story City app before submitting. And 4, confirm that you are not sending people to dangerous places or private property, as outlined in the user agreement. In this case, we have not yet playtested our story. We can do that while our story is still in draft, and you can see that in the How to Test My Story on the Story City app video. But for now, we're going to pretend that we have indeed playtested our story and select the confirmation box here. Then, to submit your story for approval by Story City, hit the Submit for Approval button. Congratulations, you have submitted your first story. Once Story City has approved your story, in the Creator menu, your story will go from in draft mode to being published. When it is in review, you'll see Story Pending Review. Once your story has been approved, any changes made after publication will automatically be pushed without waiting for approval from the Story City elves. And while Story City will review those changes, we will only unpublish your story if there is a problem with those edits. Well, what are you waiting for? Log in to your Story City Creator dashboard and create your first story. If you're after support or help creating the best interactive story you can, check out the Story City Resource Hub. The world is full of adventures. We're excited to see yours.